everybody, this is Dr. Jave, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Latte Talk. This one was really fun to do. I'm speaking to a good friend of mine, Jamie, and it was so much fun. And I'm leaving the entire hour and 17 minutes in there because it was great talking to him. He's such an awesome guy to talk to and listen to. And at one point, he started interviewing me, which is like, I don't know. Anyway, so hope you enjoy it. Jamie, thank you so much for your time, man. And hope to see you soon. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Bye. We're officially recording. What's going on,
Ladies
my man?
and gentlemen, we are on the Latte Talk.
We are on Latte Talk. We sure are. It is recommended to be latte, but not required. I just want you to know.
I am latte and not hottie toddy right now.
Hold on a second. Let me figure this out for a second. That's not it. View. There we go. Gallery. All right. We are good to go. Look what I put behind me.
I love that. Is that
Florida?
built into the wall?
I just Googled Florida West Coast and that's what came up. Because you are in Florida West Coast from what I understand.
Yeah. Is that Sanibel or is it?
I honestly have no idea. It's a Google image of large Florida West Coast.
All right, we'll go with that.
Huh. It's nice. I want to go there. By the way, I have to tell you, speaking of West Coast, we had to get the kids out of the house for a little bit, and we went to Sanibel. Not much expectations because it was, we've been to Naples and things like that before. It was the best time. It was so nice. We went to this place called South Sea, I think it was.
Yes, South Seas Plantation.
Oh my God. I mean, my kid, we got lucky. And some of the homes you get is it's a hit or miss. And we got a place right, like you can walk to the beach, and the kids had this shower. It was a shell shower, and they were in love with it. It was crazy.
Was it at the resort itself?
It was at the resort, yes.
Yeah.
We got a cottage, and it was really cheap. I have to tell you, it was one of those times that people wanted people to go.
Yep. Well, and it's such a beautiful island because you have Sanibel and Captiva. Captiva's right on the end, and that should have been right where you were at. And man, I tell you, when nobody could travel, they were giving stuff away.
It was so nice. We went parasailing. We went jet skiing. We saw manatees, dolphins. What's up with the dolphins? They're everywhere.
Oh, yes.
My kids are like, Daddy, dolphins. I'm like, yeah.
So it's funny because sometimes you get used to them and you don't even look at them anymore. We had the boat out, and it was one of our first few runs. And my wife looks back, she goes, "Oh, the dolphins!" And I swear to you, I'm standing here, and the dolphin is less than 2 feet away from me in the prop of the boat, like just swimming to get all the water on its face.
Yeah,
and that was pretty cool. But you get used to it, and it's funny how you take things for granted.
I'm telling you. You know what? Did you say you have a boat? And if you do, did you lose my cell number? What happened there? Why come I didn't get an invitation?
Well, once I know how to run it well, and I don't have to be embarrassed, like
messing with you.
Hold on.
Let me tell you something. This is the first time we've ever spoken. My audience, my subscribers, which I think there are 2 right now, me and my mom, God bless her. Anyway.
Hi, Mom.
They might think we are BFFs. We've never actually, I don't believe we've ever spoken. Even virtually, we've never spoken.
It's always been messages back and forth on like Facebook or something.
This is crazy. And it sounds like I've known you for like 20 years.
Yeah. Well, we got familiar during some of the hard days, when the world was acting crazy. And
that's right.
I think it was nice to be able to have some solace, you know?
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
you know, we met originally through Mike Brum's
That's true.
conferences.
That's true. You know what? You were taking photos. I remember. I take it back. We very briefly we met.
That's right.
Speaking of Mike Brum, I asked him, I said, Mike, would you like to be on my little YouTube show? He wanted $2 million. It's the craziest thing. No, I'm just kidding. I'm messing with him.
I can't believe that. I mean, I only did it for 100 grand.
I said, who do I look like? Strub? Come on. You know, I swear, this man, I hope he's watching. You know what? I'm going to tag him. He's one of the nicest guys, and he's such a great mentor, and he's got such an awesome demeanor about him. And it's so good to know him. And Dr. Strub, I mean, he's just one of my huge mentors. So, but anyway, so half of my channel is 50%, I would say, is dental, and the other 50%, it's about life. It's about the soul. It's about how all things positive. And so I just want to make sure my audience knows this is not a dental thing right now.
Yeah, no. Yeah, if you came here looking for fillings, cavities, and veneers,
this is not it.
Episode so, for sure.
Hold on, I think my screen is recording, and I got an email. And anyway, I'll
yeah, no. If you're just recording, you're good. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to know about you, man. Tell us who you are and what do you do and what's your mission in life. That's a third part.
That's
I'm gonna get deep right away.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I'm James Adair. I'm in Tampa, Florida. Married. My wife is this is my first wife, preferably my only wife. Mm-hmm. And we've been together almost, we are 20 years. Gosh, it's a long time. I've got two teenage boys, 16 and 13. The 13-year-old's in an all-boys middle school. It's a public middle school, but it's all boys. And then my other one is at a local high school. They're both very excited to be back in person. It was funny because if you really want a kid to go to school, tell them that they have a choice, and there's a lot of people that can't. And then they're like, I want to be back. So there they are. And we have a dog that's getting old, so it may chime its face in every once in a while. I am currently a realtor. I've been licensed almost as long as I've been married. When I started out my real estate career, it was really for investment properties. I was helping investors buy junker houses that they could fix up and resell or rent. And I did that for probably about 10 years. And then I took a stint at a church. I was a associate pastor. We planted a church. And then I did that on
I
staff.
love that. Say it again. Say it again. You did what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was an associate pastor.
Associate pastor.
Yeah.
What is that?
So in that particular organization, they ordained me. I already had a religious studies degree from USF, and it was great. I loved having that degree, but it's very difficult to use a secular religious studies degree helping the cause of Christianity. It's kind of a challenge sometimes. But because that church firmly believed in helping other people who were far from Christ learn more about Jesus, like that pathway, that it was important to us to reach people that didn't have, a moral core, and that were, young emerging people that the regular church just didn't have an interest in. So that was our cause, our mission.
That's cool.
But I did that for about 4 years as a staff person, and I volunteered for umpteen years before that. Then I went back out into real estate, did a little more investment, and I realized this wasn't a fit. I have the strong desire to tell the truth about things. And I realized when I was selling investment property, you always had to come up with a story. It was like, oh, this will really be worth a lot of money. If you do it all the way I said they will, So I got into retail real estate. So like when you want to buy a house, you want to buy your own rental house, real people doing real estate, not, the shadow inventory and all this fake stuff. Anyway, it became so much more life-giving because what I've realized, and I think you might do some of this in your practice for dentistry as well, people aren't necessarily coming to us for just that product. There's something deeper that we can offer that brings real value. And I
Oh,
think
that's my whole mission and point to tell people. But go ahead, please.
yeah, well, the deal is that we have to get out of our own technical way. Sometimes the technicals of our businesses require us to do certain things, but to serve a client's greater needs is to help the client take their next best step. That's kind of one of my taglines. And I know that when you go through the process of buying a house or selling a house, it's not just about the price. It's not about the inspection. It's not about the closing date. It's, do you really, okay, it happens a lot. Do you really want a home that's 5,000 square feet just because you can afford it? Right? Is there something greater about that?
Mm.
And there's no judgment around whether or not somebody wants a large home for just them and their spouse, right? It's more about recognizing and owning that stature is important to the client and that's valuable to them. Or maybe a family home. You know, sometimes you can get a really large home out far, far away, but when you really dive down into what's important to that family, being in isolation out in the woods may not really be the solution. Maybe it's being closer to where there are other kids that their kids are going to be able to play with where there are sidewalks. Now, as a realtor, officially, I can't talk about sidewalks because there's some discrimination rules in there. But families want sidewalks for their kids to be able to run on, and they want some woods to play in. They may not want to be way out there, but really listening and walking the client through those more important conversations. Because if you buy a $300,000 house or if you buy a 350, my money's not that, my commission's not that much bigger. Like I don't get that much more money. But if you're happier and I help connect you to your deeper self and help you make a wiser decision, I'm going to get a lot more business in the future. Like that referral business keeps me alive. And so part of my work mission is helping people. I'm at my best when. I don't always do it, but I'm at my best when the client trusts me. Mm-hmm. The client believes that I have the expertise to bring to the table. And I think in your business, you get this all the time. It's just a filling. No, it's not. Right? Chlorhexidine is not just filling, right? Like that level of sophistication that you guys bring is a perfect example of how a client may think they need this, but what you're bringing, that expertise, they got to trust that you guys aren't just throwing on a bunch of fillings and things and charging a bunch. That it's more than that. So anyway, I feel like that's a part of my corporate calling.
You bring up a great point, because I was just talking to a friend about this, and it was a deep subject. It was about African Americans and their suffering through this country, and how nobody should ever forget, and what they've been through. And they said, we have to listen to them. And I'm sorry, I'm totally getting off tangent here, but
it's your show.
she said, it's interesting, ever since all this stuff happened, I started listening to my friend. He goes, and I really believe in this. And this is my point. She said, in any profession we have, let's say you go to a doctor and you're sick. He takes a history. The most important thing we can do for our clients is listening to them and seeing what it is that they're suffering from, what they're asking from, what they're hurting from. So when you're telling me, you want to listen to your clients, see what they want and what it is that you can help them with, that's such a great point. I just don't like going to doctor's office and it's so routine and this and this, and they do everything for insurance. If there's a procedure that insurance pays, that's what they're going to do. This is what it's just, I'm so beyond that. And I'll try to create my office. I'm sorry, whose interview is this?
Oh, well, you beat me to ask the question, because I would flip this on you and ask the same thing. Hey, how do you manifest this in your world?
It's amazing. I have a rule in my office for my team members. When a new patient comes in, or if they've never been met before, first 10 minutes, absolutely no talk about teeth. You got to talk about them. You got to get to know them. You got to see what it is that they want, why they're there, and what they do, but nothing dentistry. And then we will get into that. But I apologize. I got to this because you said, your job, you find it as a service to your clients. And I think that's just a awesome stepping stone for any profession that we're in. So, but please continue. I'm sorry.
Well, but isn't it true though that anybody could go get dental work anywhere? Anybody could go get a house bought through some average realtor, right?
Yeah.
And then the question is, do they want to have an average experience? And that's okay. Some people want to just pay for that, and that's okay. I mean, unfortunately, in my world, I don't get to say, "Hey, I'm going to be really sensitive and listen to you real good, and I could charge you more." It doesn't work that way. It's market.
But
But
yeah.
the question is, how well do people plug in to the experience,
Yeah.
right? And I think you probably have had this with patients, but what's interesting to me, and this is for you guys who don't know me yet, I'm super, super transparent. I'll tell you just about anything. This is something I'm currently working through. It is when I don't set the stage right in the beginning. When I don't set the relationship right in the beginning, it really goes wrong, right?
Mm,
So if somebody calls me and they say, "Hey, I want to go see 123 Flicka Lane. I've got cash and I want to buy it tomorrow."
mhm.
Well, okay, well, let's go, right? What's happened though is that three showings later, after we didn't buy Flicka Lane, now we're looking at Square Lake and Riverview View or whatever. I didn't start that initial conversation really understanding why it is that Flicka Lane was the one. That was that one house. What's important about this house to you? And the less answers I get up front, the more that tells me that that client, that person is probably not going to be emotionally available,
Mm.
right? To touch in to themselves and also to share with me what it is they're really thinking. Because some people are so closed off, it's private. Like, I don't really need to know how much you make, but at least got to know that you got enough money to put down, right? Like
Yeah.
that. Otherwise, this house is a non-starter. So one of my recent clients, it was, "Hey, here's this house. It's way overpriced. It's this, that, and the other." And because I just wanted to get the house on the market, sold for this guy very quickly, I didn't really listen. And had I listened had I listened well, I absolutely would have not chosen him as a client, even because there's this particular scenario. And I think everybody can relate how you get down a road so far sometimes and how did I get here? Right? You get to that place and you're like, wait a minute, if I had listened to my gut, right? My God-born gut that told me something wasn't right. So in this particular case, this client is going to have 3, 4, 5 more houses. So if I do it right on the first one and I can tolerate a little weirdness, then it'll pay off in the long run. Now that I'm in this long enough, it doesn't matter how much money's there. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Because
it's not
I
what
didn't listen.
I get it. I get it, and I see that in my profession as well. We can't help everybody, and I tell my team members that of course we try to assist everybody, but just some people are just not the right for the practice, and there's nothing disrespectful, and
No.
I'll help them find an office that suits them better. But you can tell sometimes that what it is, it's just not the right chemistry. And honestly, I have to say, you remind me of one of my friends down here. She's a realtor as well, and she's got such a joyful soul, and you can tell how she connects. And there's so many other realtors as well around here, and I am getting to know. I'm learning so much. Seriously, I mean, I didn't know about. I was talking to her, and she was telling me about, the when to buy and this and all that. So I'm really learning. So I like to hear more.
What we call that in the industry is a punt. He's punting it back to me. In my world, I feel like the clients that I serve best are the ones who are trusting, they trust professional advice, and they have a healthy respect for money, right? Those are the people that have the best outcomes. The people who don't have the best outcomes are constantly wondering who's trying to get them, right? Who's trying to get one over on somebody, right? They're constantly trying to run the show themselves, right? They're constantly trying to figure out how to get this price down and that price down. The fact that when I take on a file, I don't get paid until it closes. And if it doesn't close, I've done all that for nothing, right? So there's a ton of traits as a good client profile. There are people that go through hurting times. And when you're emotionally content inside this, you don't have to respond, right? So that last client I mentioned, there's so much drama in it, but I haven't responded in the way in which it's come to me because I've got the experience. I don't have to prove anything about myself to these people. That's not the proving piece. That's not the peacocking that needs to happen. What does need to happen though is either you guys raise up to be professional home investors or you don't, and that's okay. There's no problem when somebody wants to stay at that level. And that's the hardest part, is letting go of the judgment of people who don't want to move along. Segue, some of what we talked about when we first met was some friction that society was having around being open-hearted to other people, other causes, other things. And I think for me, that's one of my biggest triggers that I'm working on, is allowing people to allowing myself to respect people who, in my opinion, sometimes act unrespectable, and really be okay with that deep, because in my faith, we all have sin issues that we have to work through, and maybe God's redeemed us, but doesn't mean all that stuff's just gone, And so if he loved me when I was this way, and my God doesn't have to be one of these, ooh, he just sinned, I'm surprised, right? So why should I be surprised when people out in the world maybe don't act open-hearted, So anyway, that was sort of like a bob and weave into a few items.
I like that. So I do want to get more into, because I have to say, you have this Facebook page. It's the Church of, help me out.
Oh, so I did add you to that. That's great. I feel like I robbed you of a little bit. All right. So he's talking about, I have a private group. There's 120 people in this page, and it's my tribe. Tribe Adair is what it was called. Okay. This tribe, these are all people that are past clients, the people that are raging fans, future clients, or people that have been in like church small groups with me or like done life with me. So that's this collection. So you got in there because I was putting.
How the hell did I get in there?
Well, because you had an open-heartedness around a lot of my personal musings with the George Floyd stuff. And that's where I was posting it first. And then it went much bigger.
You got famous.
I don't know about famous, but
I mean, definitely people reacted.
And I got to that place where, and I don't know, it's just funny. You can blame anything you want, but I got to that place where I said, I'm comfortable enough in my career and in my pants where I can say what I need and feel like needs to be said in a respectful, loving way, and stand up for what I got to stand up for. And I think that's what I tried to bring to the conversation about George, about a lot of some politic things, but also like just how we treat each other. Yeah. We have the loudest voices on our media platforms have really become a divisive place. And I need to be able to be okay that some people are divisive, right? That's me just letting go, right? Yeah. But on the other hand, there is a higher vibration. Do you guys do vibrations for your faith?
What do you mean? Explain that.
So there's a ton of science around it. I don't know any of that. The simplest way to describe it is that hey, I'm picking up a vibe. Are you mad at me? Right? It's like a vibration. Or like when you're happy, it's a much higher vibration than if you're full of lust, greed, and anger. Right?
I can tell you we don't. There's no confession in our faith. There's no it's a very personal faith. And if people don't know, I'm a member of the Baha'i faith, and its main philosophy is unity of mankind, that we're all one, regardless of what gender, what color, humanity is one. And it's time that people realize that. But it's a very personal religion. So of course we have laws and rules and things like that, but it's mostly a very spiritual connection between a person and God, and the connection is the Holy Spirit that connects us. So so do we open up to, is there a group that we open up to, see it, say there's a vibe or something? Not really. um we have an amazing, I'll tell you what, not to change the subject really quick, we've had an amazing core group of people that we have a devotional every morning, and it's a devotional meditation, and it's been such a great bond for us. It's such an awesome way to start the day. I mean, your soul, it's so on a high level every morning. You start the day, and I'm stoked all day, and I don't care about angry people. The best way to put it. And it's so funny. I posted this today. I said, anger, if someone is angry, it's not that necessarily they're angry at that subject. It's because they really don't have inner peace within themselves. And it's such a simple thing, but it's such a deep thing to conquer yourself. And I'm seeing so many angry people, but it doesn't really affect me because I start the day on such a high note. But anyway, I don't even know how we got to
Okay, so
that.
what's interesting, I have really been double dutching with how much I do and don't let 2020 affect me, right? I've
Mhm.
been really trying to publicly be a voice of dialogue, and I always try and start every post or everything that I say, because basically the Facebook and all the social medias now are a fire pit, right? That's uh, our communal gathering where some people forget that there's other people on the other side, right? Like if you're sitting around somebody in a fire pit, you're probably not going to say half the stuff we say. But at the end of it, I've realized that I've been putting out as many thought-provoking posts as possible to try to get people to ask themselves deeper questions. And
Yeah.
sometimes they're silly stuff, sometimes it's not. But for the most part, since since my George stuff happened publicly on my regular public page, I've really been trying to dive in to deep hear stuff, right? I asked a question the other day about, do you ever disagree with something your own political party says? Something like that,
Mm.
because I want people to be able to process something other than like tribalism. And
Yeah.
tribalism can be okay, but like, how do you get there? So I've been really noticing my own emotional vibration, and my Christianity doesn't do vibrations either. They wouldn't understand any of this. But like how when you feel better, that's like a higher level in human existence, that joy, right? But
Hmm.
when you're down and you're trying to point to somebody else being the errors in your life, like, why didn't I sell as many houses this year? It's because I was standing up for other people. Ooh, right? It's a low vibration, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, I wanted to try to take really challenging things that we're all walking through and try and raise it to a self-explore, self-examine, and it's not comfortable, but it's higher level. Does that make sense? Like
It
you have to
does.
go to another place with
Absolutely.
yourself.
I totally understand what you're saying.
And for me, having that give and take is really a fine shuffle because I have to process the content myself that I'm really wrestling with. My next thing that I'm going to wrestle with is human trafficking. Like
Mm. Yeah.
viscerally, I have one emotional reaction to it, and then I feel like there's still more. There's blockages there that I should get over, like mental. And I'm like, is this all as real as I'm being sold, or is this not? So I figured out there's something there. But all these other things that have happened in 2020, I think about it first here, and then I go, you know what? I think we should all ask ourselves this question. We all fight about mask or no mask. Well, have we asked ourselves a deeper question about this? And then put it out there so that you'll let other people hopefully think it through. But sometimes when they just get into argument zone, I have to go, let it go. It's okay. We're all in different places, you know, and process it. And what do you do? So anyway, when you had mentioned that, that was a little piece for me. I go, I don't just ignore what's going on right now, because that some of my contemporaries and some of my other organizations, their answer is, I haven't felt as good in years, but I don't talk to anybody. And it's really head in the sand mentality. And then once pushed to really think about it, then they go, well, could I open my heart to learning more about what's going on? You know? Sorry, that's my dog.
No, I hear it.
All right. Anybody want a dog? Uh, so so for me, that's been a little piece of the pie, is figuring out how much, as I stay involved in trying to look for change, positive, real, legitimate change in here, because if it doesn't happen in here first, it won't happen out there. It's just like when you go to a patient and you're really looking for money, right? And you're starting out your practice, not you, because you're established, but new dental guys out there, all of a sudden he's thinking Coast Dental or some other big branch dental, and he's got to churn through a ton of clients, a ton of patients.
Yeah.
If he himself is struggling to make those bills, he's going to project that onto the client, right?
Yeah.
Totally different attitude if you're content. If you already made it, you don't need to force somebody into getting, something work done. They don't need work done. It's a different attitude that you bring.
Yeah. We struggle with that. When I say we, I'm the president of FACD, Florida Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry, this year. We struggle because our promotion is all about quality, and we are fighting with corporate dentistry, and again, it is what it is. It's a business, and they have to do what they have to do. But at the same time, the young dentists, they go there with so much passion, just out of dental school. And I'm saying dentistry because you get it. You know Mike, and you've been around the business. And they got so much passion, so much excitement to get out, and they're thrown into this environment that quantity is the key. You got to see more patients, we got to produce more, and it's all about money. The soul just goes right out the window. And on the other side, it's a struggle. It's a struggle to make people understand that slow dentistry, which I'm a part of, which is one patient at a time. That's really the
Is that
key.
what it's called?
It's called slow dentistry. If you Google that, it was created by one of my good friends, Dr. Miguel Stanley in Portugal, and it's based out of Switzerland. But it's one patient at a time, and just slowing down, just taking your time and doing the right treatment for the patient. And I've been practicing this for 20 years, and I just heard about it last year, and I joined the group, and it's such an amazing concept. But for somebody coming out of dental school with so much debt, it's hard, it's difficult. So we're fighting with that. And this year in the academy, I'm trying to invite a lot of dental students to come to the conference to kind of see the other side, because it's very attractive to go to these places, and you get burned out so fast, and you lose that passion, and you lose what you're doing rather than what you're doing quality work. And I'm looking at some of my colleagues that are part of this, like Mike, and see.
He was super burned out. Remember? Did you ever hear his story when he was doing?
I didn't know. I just know what an amazing practice he has, and what he's doing.
Yeah, he used to have to burn through a bunch of patients, and one day he just was like, I think I need to do something different.
Yeah.
Like a different kind of whatever this is. And they don't let me take the time. I remember that phrase. And then he went into a South Tampa dentist, and then finally got over with Dr. Strupp. But
yeah,
what a great turn and burn.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you guys get the bad rap for being expensive dentistry. And yet the funny part is you take it slow. Whereas who's more driven by the dollars? The big corporate places that, churn and burn, that just do it on volume alone. And I'm like, well, I don't know, there's two sides to that argument, right?
Honestly, I was talking to Miguel. I was interviewing Miguel, Dr. Stanley, who came up with this slow dentistry. I could have 10 offices, and I could employ so many doctors, and I could be doing much more than I just cannot get myself to do that. I just cannot get myself to do that to my patients. It's not for my conscience, I cannot be seeing 40 patients a day or I cannot be having other doctors seeing the patients, or it's not that I want to have control. I want to have control on the quality care, and I want to make sure I do the best work I can. So, and
all right, let's stay on that. I love this. This is good because I'm in the
yeah.
same
Do you
place.
have any more questions, sir?
Well, no, but I'm in the same place. Different illustration, but there are people who will talk about the business. Of course, if you're not into dentistry, and I only know it because of sitting in the conferences, but there are people who will talk about, being able to do such a high caseload, right? And they'll tout it from the mountaintops about how many patients and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I was curious if you tap into the emotion that you just had about, I just can't bring myself to do that. Where does that come from for you?
Because I care so much about my patients. I didn't go to dental school. If I wanted to make money, I would have gone into hedge fund or business or something like that. I remember, I'll never forget this. I went to dental school, and with the same concept, our dean walked in, freshman year. We were all excited. We thought, oh, the dean's going to talk to us. It's the dean. He comes up, I swear to God, he writes service to mankind. We had blackboards back then. Service to mankind. And he walks out. I'm like, whoa. and it just hit me at that time why we're there. This is what we're doing. To me, any profession, I don't care what it is. Worship, if you want to talk about religion and faith, service to humanity is service, is worship. I'm sorry, service to humanity is worship, and I try to do that. I don't think I can deliver it if I had 10 offices. I was talking to a friend of mine, and it's so funny. This resonated with so many people. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he's got a lot of offices, and was complaining about some of his doctor. He's very wealthy, but he's not happy. And I can tell, just talking to him, I can tell he's not happy. And I posted about that. And of course, I stayed anonymous. He's not even in this country. And so many people started talking about it. I said happiness is spiritually based. It's not material. It has nothing to do with materialistic stuff.
What was the feel from the other folks?
They agreed with me, and then a few of them, it's still on my wall, and a few of them said no, and again, I respect everybody's decision. They said happiness is achieving your goals, making what it is, and making a certain amount of money, and maybe your friend is happy. My friend is not happy. I can guarantee you that. He's actually miserable. And again, he's been through so many life events. And he's a good businessman, but I can tell his soul is not, it's not shining. It's not there. So my whole point of that post was a spiritually based happiness, and it cannot come from materialistic stuff. It'll make you happy for a little while, but it's not long lasting. And to me, doing slow dentistry and doing the type of work that we do, I cannot tell you how joyful we are with patients here. I have a new office manager. She's just shocked sometimes how much fun we have here. And she's coming along. And it's just, we have to make patients feel good. Of course, do the best dentistry we can, but they don't know about margins, or they don't know about they really don't. I mean, you can say I use the best lab, I use the best thing. It's how they feel. And if you genuinely, and people are not stupid, I have to tell you, you cannot fake this.
That's so true.
Yes. You gotta be genuine. And that authenticity comes from your soul. I really believe in that. And if you can transform enough, or you can inform enough people about that, their life is going to get so elevated. There's so much hatred right now in the world. We need to be the light. We need to shine and let people know there is other way, and you got to let that old stuff go. This is not So how many people, and I don't want to concentrate on that. How
I
many,
had an interesting growth around that topic.
tell me.
Oh, it's out in my shed. I have a shed office.
I can
Um,
I can pause it. We can
I don't
pause.
know.
We can do anything.
I know, right? This is 2020. This is awesome. So there was a guy, I wish I had the stat, but anyway, there was a guy who figured out, because I was going down the road of tribalism and really trying to figure out why is it that we become this thing. And my mentor at the time said to me, um, it's because when we get under stress, we go back to what's most comfortable. We go back to what's familiar. If you talk to most people, they say, oh, I can't wait to get back to the way things were before COVID, right?
Yeah.
And there's even a little pushback against the new normal, right? That word has now become sort of a taboo. And the reality set in for me is that I have to be able to find myself in a place where I have to understand that somebody might be in their tribalistic mindset because they're not sure what to do with the stress. So when George Floyd happened, and then the girl after him, I think people who look like me, who might be on the conservative side of the aisle, they don't know what to do when somebody uses words that feel offensive, right? There's the stress. And
Great
then,
point.
right? And then there's
Yes.
people that do things on streets in other people's towns, not even in our own town, and we
Yeah.
get worked up over it. I'm like, wait
Yeah.
a second, it's not even yours.
Yeah.
So we get into this thing, but we forget, wait a minute, we go to a place that feels like home. It feels like that comfort zone, right? People overeat all the time. The stress happens. Drinkers go to drinking. Drugs, like those are just like the addiction level things. But when you get into your cultural mindset, we go back into that place, and that has been a really good explanation for me. I don't think it's good that we accept that as the final truth. I think it's just a descriptor, and we go, all right, how can we be the kind of people? Because if you're not it first, just like you said about joy, if you're not happy first, nobody else is going to pick up that. No, you could tell a patient how great they look, right? You could put $100,000 case in somebody's mouth overnight. Like, by the way, they sell that on the internet. You can do it overnight. Um, but that doesn't mean they're going to be happy. They're not going to have the smile if they don't own it themselves, right?
Great
And
point.
they
Yeah.
get little glimpses of that when they're in your office,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And if you do slow dentistry, like Mike also does pretty slow dentistry,
Hmm.
they get doses of that every single time you do the next part of the case.
Yes.
So you're sowing seeds.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I tell this to my colleagues. We're not just fixing teeth. I was interviewing Kyle, and he reconfirmed. I've been saying this forever. Dentistry is not my mission. It's just my job. This is not, it's my profession. Dentistry is just a tool for me to do service for people, to elevate people's souls, whatever it may be, because they're not here to fix teeth. I want them to have an experience. I want them to be happy. I want them to be joyful. I want them to leave a different person. Not that I'm going to preach to them or anything, but I want that connection. I want them to feel how positive their experience can be. And we get so one of my favorite movies is Jerry Maguire. It's an older movie. He says we live in a cynical world, and he was all about quality, less number of clients, and this is what we're about. And then his coach, Dickie Fox, he always had flashbacks about his coach, and he would say, if this, or I'm paraphrasing, he said, if this doesn't work, this doesn't matter. And it's all about the heart. It's all about the connection we make with patients. It's all about, again, elevating their souls. And that's, I think, in any profession you can do that. But you have to conquer yourself first. You have to you have to be happy with yourself. You have to have inner peace, whatever way it is. If it's a church, if it's your faith, if it's a whatever it is. If you find happiness within yourself, you owe it to yourself to give that to other people, because we live in this beautiful world, and we have to elevate each other. So that's
All
what
right,
this channel is all about, by the way.
I'm gonna give you the the best cut ever. Transparent cut right here.
Tell me.
You ready? When you said, I'm not here just to do teeth, I'm here to elevate the souls, right? What I heard you say was that your significance does not come from what you do.
Hmm.
The first comes from who you are. Then, as an outpouring of who you are, then you get to impact people. So, ready? Here's the cheese. There it is. So during and this isn't something that I wouldn't share publicly elsewhere, so feel free to share. But during my time as associate pastor and church planter, my best friend and I started this church from scratch with some other families, etc. I volunteered for a super long time. I was a youth pastor before that, but for the most part, I was a volunteer in this organization. I had the religious education, but I didn't have the ordination. I got ordained, and then we had the actual time on staff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what ended up happening is that I did not have the emotional maturity to function in the relationship. So there was strife between us, right?
Mm.
However, what I realized after, significantly after I was fired, was that my significance came because of what I was doing. So much so that I believed that God needed me to help accomplish his mission. I didn't realize that God will still be God no matter what my role is, right? That I had forgotten my way. I had forgotten that it had to be here first. I was rotten inside because I was still proving, I was still trying to be, I was still trying to get the recognition that I felt like I deserved from other respectable leaders, right? That proving, that sense of that 8-year-old self hadn't worked itself out yet. But once I was transitioned, that's the corporate word for it, but once they got rid of me, and I had about not 4 years. I think I had about 3 years. I did a good midlife crisis. I bought a new car. I jumped out of an airplane, did a whole bunch of weird stuff. But I finally got to the place where I stopped blaming other people. I stopped blaming my former best friend, who's still my friend now. I stopped blaming all that other stuff. And I really had to take ownership of where I wasn't here. But it wasn't just that I screwed this up. It wasn't that. That was the tip. That was the thing that you got to own. Okay, cool. But it was more about realizing that, like, my 8-year-old self was still trying to find validation with other people, very specific types of other people. And I was trying to look towards my best friend to fill a void that wasn't his role to fill, and that he didn't have the capacity or bandwidth to fill, right? And then as I carried out this quote unquote mission for God, I realized long time later that he loved me, that my experience in my faith is regardless of what I do for him. Like, he still loves me no matter what. So as I do this real estate thing, I am not any more or any less loved by God because I'm not on staff somewhere, right? It's not the actual work that I do. It's that other stuff. It's being first, being happy, being joyful, being for me, there's a lot right now about being honest with myself and growing. That piece, like in here, when I was in church world, it was so much about trying to get other people to believe that I forgot about the being. But now that I'm on the other side of it, I go, all right, I needed to work on this being thing a lot. And then there's so much less trying to prove in the world. There's so much less trying to validate stuff. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's okay. I don't know. My kid the other day, we were talking about something over dinner, and he said it should be this way. And sure enough, we looked it up, and he was right. And I said, guess what? You're right. Like, you don't have to keep proving, right? Yeah. And so that little piece, what you were saying about you're not here just as a dentist, right? There's something greater. For me, I took a really long journey. I'm 43-ish now. And that journey for me was getting to that place where I realized that my significance and my own personal responsibility to allow myself to grow should be the priority. And that all the stuff is a gift.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the whole point. That's the whole point why we're here.
It just took me a while to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have to say, some people get it. Some people have it, and they get it in an early age, and some people it takes time to do it. But and in no way or means I'm saying I'm better than anybody. It's just the gift we want to share with other people. Because look at it, I have two great friends, Mandy and Ed, and I interviewed them. They were my first interview, and they're so into the church, into the faith, and into Christ and all of that. You can tell how happy and joyful they are within. You just can tell. People, spiritual individuals, and I'm not saying religion. Religion gets a bad rap, by the way. You look at any religion, they're all peaceful. They're all good. I really believe in that. And it's the interpretation of man has made them.
Yeah, we mess them up.
We mess them up. But you look at anyone who has faith, who would look at their spirit, they are so joyful. And that's what I love about people that have found that joy within them. And it's their spirit, and they just shine. And that's all. We just want to be the light, to transfer to other people. And I have to say, this morning devotional that we have, I am learning so much. It's such a blessing to do that. And it's hard for people to come 6 o'clock. So we're kind of doing a Wednesday night at night. That's been the best Zoom ever. What's the greatest thing about 2020 is we put that group together, and it's so powerful. So we're hopefully going to do it once a month on Wednesdays. Would love you to come in and share your thoughts. But what else? What else would you like to talk about?
I don't know. What do we got? This thing has been awesome. So obviously, I like the Bible. We start with that.
Yep.
This thing.
Who is it by?
David R. Hawkins.
Okay.
That's recently, but anyway, this was really instrumental in me figuring out how to let go of certain ideas that I used to hold, like about myself, about the world.
Yeah.
It goes everything from grief, like you lose a loved one, and you're kind of, people can get bitter, right? I mean, that's a normal thing. There's there's 5 stages of grief anyway, right? But this really talks about things in a way that you go, I hadn't really considered that by me holding on to their memory, I'm holding on to something that they wouldn't want me to hold on about them. Meaning, their spouse has passed on, and you've mourned their loss, plenty of time, but there's a piece of you that wants to hold on so firmly to the past that you can't live in the future or the present. So it talks a lot about things like that, and I've enjoyed growing.
I have to tell you, we have that book. I have not read it. My wife has read it. I have that book. I'm gonna grab it from her.
Careful. This. I mean, you're already really well down a lot of paths, but this book, that's a powerful book.
I love it.
Bible, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and that.
Yes, I read that one.
Yeah. Yep.
Excellent. So,
all right, I have a fun one for you.
Tell me.
We said we weren't going to talk about politics, so I'm not going to talk about politics.
It's fine.
One thing that I do, and it comes from my disability of trying to stir the pot of thought without taking a side. Mm-hmm. And then I try and use humor as much as possible. That's what I like to do. So I have a dinosaur. Have you ever seen my dinosaur?
I have.
Okay.
And I heard some bad news the other day, but go ahead.
The bad news has been redeemed.
Oh my God. People don't know what we're talking about. Okay, tell me the story.
So we took out the dinosaur and drove the boat and showed off some fun things. And we put the dinosaur back in a bag, stuck in the back of the boat, came home, and then we couldn't find it anywhere. And I thought the kids were messing with me, but they swear it's not. So we lost the dinosaur. And then finally, there was so much outrage, I had to get the dinosaur back. So
congratulations, man.
there is a little fun with the dinosaur.
The first time I saw the dinosaur, I'm like, why is this guy going through security in airport with a dinosaur? Like,
That's awesome.
what the hell is wrong with this guy? Then I said, man, this is cool. And people are going along with you. The security guy is going along with you. I'm like, is this right?
This is happening. That's right. So I remember I was going out of St. Pete Airport, and I had plenty of time to travel, and this was during COVID. So I said, this was my suit to keep me safe. And they brought me into a private room, and they made me disrobe, and they looked at everything. They checked the inside to make sure it wasn't going to blow up.
Oh my God. That's just brilliant, man.
Oh, and the lady, you know how there's always somebody in a condo association or an HOA that's always the rule person. She's like, and he's wearing a dinosaur suit. What are we going to do? And then finally, Mr. Calm walks in, and he's like, we'll just, bring him back here. Okay.
That's awesome.
All right. So we have the dinosaur, and he is, I don't know which flag this is. See is this? Hold on. This one's this is the Biden flag. Okay. So we were in the boat, and we were taking it around with the Biden flag. And we took the Trump flag around. We don't want anybody to feel left out. So our first journey with the dinosaur on the boat was to get these flags out. So of course, people on the shore are having a good old time.
So I'm sorry, both flags at the same time.
Well, so the scene goes like this. The boat enters, and it's one flag, Biden, right? Then it goes Trump, right? And then I have both on there, and we do a donut in the bay with these flags up. And then we're going to take the Mini Cooper out, and we're going to hang them off the sides. And I'm going to go down to our Bayshore area here, and we're going to So I'm getting to the punchline. We'll have the dinosaur grabbing one of the flags and running off. And then there's one other place. Anyway, the whole video is being set up because I'm going to play political capture the flag. And we'll have a $50 prize for each flag, and it'll be hidden around town so that people will find the flag, take a picture of themselves, send it to me, and they'll get $50.
That's just brilliant.
It's a win-win.
I'm telling you.
Although I lost the darn dinosaur during the whole thing. So we'll see. And Connor's been having fun doing this with me. So it's a good, parent bonding thing. And I got my oldest son who's going to edit the videos.
That's awesome.
Yeah. If you can't beat them, you might as well have fun with it, right?
Exactly. That's what I say.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me, everybody who knows you probably already has all this info, but just tell me, where's your office located?
I'm in the western community of West Palm Beach. It's in the city of Royale, Palm Beach, and it's right across right across Wellington. I gotta tell you a story. I swear, I'm right next to Wellington as well. So Wellington, Royal Palm Beach, West Palm Beach, kind of the same thing. So I was in France. That was before kids. I don't know how I remember stuff before kids. We were in France, and we were at a store, and he said, we need to see my driver's license. And he goes, oh, let me see. You're from Royal Palm Beach? I said, yes, I am. You damn right. I am from Royal Palm Beach. I was so proud to live in Royal Palm Beach.
Those of you who don't know, I used to live in Palm Beach Gardens.
Oh, did you really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. We've already had the conversation about CR chicks. And that you should go and eat more CR chicks. That's a rule.
Right. That's right.
I worked there for like 3 years in high school and
Yeah.
4 years maybe. And those guys were like second fathers to me. It was crazy. Yeah.
So
Okay. So
yeah, enough about you. What about me?
yeah, what's
Just
your
kidding.
client base? What's your client base? How far out do they drive for you?
You know what? That's a great. I have a patient, doesn't go anywhere else. She flies from Canada. She comes in, gets her cleaning, and flies.
Cleaning?
I mean, I swear to God, it's a craziest thing. But I did her whole mouth. She was a jumper. She was a her daughter. I'm sorry, her daughter was a jumper in Wellington. I get a lot of patients that are polo players, that are jumpers, dressage, and a lot of exactly a lot of equestrian people. And she was one of them. She was visiting. She loved our office. We did her whole mouth, and she was so happy. And she even said, "My friends say I'm crazy for not going. There's so many dentists around us, but I like to come see you guys because you guys are so great." So to answer your question, a lot of my patients are not a lot. I mean, my out of state patients are mostly from New York. Um, I
Oh,
do see we most of patients are from West Palm Beach area,
okay.
depending the type, because I have a kind of a niche of reconstruction, kind of same thing what Mike and Dr. Strupp do, and people really are looking for quality stuff, so they come and see me, and it's a very it's a like I said, slow dentistry. It's a low number of clients. It's a Jerry Maguire-ish kind of office.
That's fun. How do you handle New Yorkers?
Ah, you know what? That's a whole episode. How much time we got? I
Spot
love
on that one. That's a good
I
question.
love my New York patients. Um, you just sometimes you just have to talk to them in their own language.
A
No,
lot
but
of yelling.
no, it's fun, man. I love New York. I love New Yorkers, and I wish I could go back. You know, I know people are going back and forth, but I wish I could go back and visit soon, which hopefully we will. But yeah, they're awesome. I love everyone.
It's a short culture, right? Well, and you guys are what north? No, you're the north end of southern New York down there,
I think so. North end of
right?
southern New York.
You're the northern end, but your whole area there is South New York,
That's true. I never thought
right?
about it that way.
Oh yeah. I mean, get into Boca. Oh my gosh, and even further. I mean,
Yeah.
where's everybody go during the apocalypse? They went down there. That's why you had so big. Are you guys on what stage are you on right now for getting out of lockdown and stuff?
Phase 3.
Oh, that's right. That was recent, right?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. They just
Wow.
opened up Dolphin Stadium to everybody.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that goes. That's like a lot of faith.
I know, and they said we're gonna open up to 65,000 people. I don't believe the stadium even before COVID, and I don't think they ever sold out 65,000 people. What are we in Marina era or something?
Yeah, maybe it's just wishful thinking, and they're like, "Yes, you can totally come in."
I think so.
We had 50% occupancy in restaurants for a long time, and I think what that did is it allowed us the idea to say, "But we're not allowed to have more in here." Right? There wasn't more people trying to get in. Like that was it. And
Yeah.
I think we're still that way. There's a few bars that are busy, but for the most part, up here, we've been out in stage 2 for it feels like 3 months now, or maybe even 4.
Yeah.
You know,
We are in full capacity in the restaurants, but most restaurants are not doing that. It's still up to the discretion of the restaurant, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Because we've been to places that it hasn't. We don't see full places. It's still distance, and it's still 50%. But we are at full.
Well, and that helps. It's in church world we call it chairology. If you have 1,000 seats in the room and there's only 400 people, it looks really empty. But if you just take out more seats, all of a sudden it looks full.
It's a full house, exactly. But
and then if you're gonna have a wait, people are like, "Ooh, it's a busy restaurant."
yeah,
So
let's go wait in line. There's a line. Let's go wait in it.
So let's wrap this up. Tell me, who are my contemporaries? Who else have been able to grace your show? Cafe Take.
Latte talk.
Latte talk.
Please, there's gonna be a quiz on this later. It's 50% dentists and 50% other stuff. A lot of dentists that I interviewed are really my mentors and people that are lecturing all over. And the other 50% are most soul based. Like I had a marriage therapist, and I had a physician who did is using food as medicine. That's his theme, and it's excellent. It's episode 9 if you want to check it out.
Is it medicinal?
No, he's great. I mean, he's a very, very spiritual guy, and I'm gonna have a second episode with him, basically most on soul based. Right now, that was mostly on food as medicine and how human body is really he's anti-medicine, and really great episode. And then I interviewed somebody who had a service projects around town, which was
like a
nonprofit compassion agency, but she moved to Atlanta, so I talked to her. But it's 50-50. My future interviewees are, one is a therapist. She's going to talk about happiness, and that's going to be good. And I have another medical doctor I'm going to talk to about kind of the same thing. And that's going to be really deep. She's really, really knowledgeable in medicine and in spiritual things, which I really want to bring out in these episodes. So that's my latte talk. I believe I have 35 subscribers.
Nice.
And I tell my son that, and I have a 8-year-old. He said, "Daddy, this kid has 1.3 million subscribers, and he drives a Lamborghini." I said, "Really? Really? You had to rub that in?" And some kid playing Roblox on videotaping him playing video games. By the way, I don't know if you've noticed that kids watching other kids on YouTube.
Yes, it's a thing.
That's the ultimate laziness, I think.
They don't even bother to do their own game.
Hey, that's taking laziness just to a complete different level.
Oh my god! It's interesting about that. You joined my church, Church Adair, or my church. That's what it's called, my church.
Right.
Because that was me coming out of the tribe closet and trying to be a little bit more of a spiritual leader. That's why that name change happened. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I tied that back into what we said a long time ago. But before George Floyd happened, every morning from between 6 and 7:30 in the morning, I would shoot an episode, a 5 to 8 minute episode of me doing a Jamie daily. And it would just simply be my phone. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Here to talk to you today about something that's going on in my head.
I saw it.
Go ahead.
No, I said I used to watch that.
Yeah. So those episodes, I've got 230 done that were done for that group. Mm-hmm. Some very transparent, some not. Remember, these are all people that like me already, so I'm not really worried about them hating me. Mm-hmm. However, I started putting them out. I started putting the George Floyd stuff out on Facebook as a whole, just to see what happened. My first video coming out, basically I came out in support of Christian gay marriage, and then also this George Floyd conversation. And these are things that have been in my head for a long time. And when I was on staff, or when I was accountable to a church, I could not publicly say these things. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm at a place in my career where I'm okay with losing some business. I'm okay with who I am, but I'm not okay inside if I don't say something. Right. I've got to. You know, I can't wait for a more perfect death of another black guy at the hands of somebody and not say something. Like, if I believe this, who am I if I just keep sitting by? And I wasn't guilted into it. This is just my own conscience. Anyway, and then also I have very good friends that are Christians that find themselves in same-sex relationships that then get married, and all of a sudden I had like a thing and I had to do something with it. Anyway, so that video came out and it got a couple thousand views. And then subsequently, I noticed the view counts. And then I realized that this content that I produce for Facebook is great content on the wrong platform. So YouTube is designed to get more people to watch long-term with audio, whereas Facebook, people scroll and it shows as a view, but it doesn't mean that they actually listen to it. So I've started figuring out to be effective, and this is where I'm going with this. This is important. To be effective, I might need to change some of my platform so that the actual message is heard that I'm trying to say. So that's one. The second part, which is what I wanted to tell you, is your son's jab about 35 plus or 3 million followers, right? Is that even in our old age, mine, yours, if we're not careful, we can get our significance from how well our message is received. But the reality is that the significance is in here first, regardless of what happens out here. And if you, do you remember, did you ever hear about Dietrich Bonhoeffer?
No, refresh my memory.
He was a Christian preacher in the German church during World War II. He was an active opposer of Hitler. And in fact, he was trying to plan, I didn't know this, he was trying to plan, what is it when you kill a leader? What's that called?
Assassination.
Yeah.
Right.
I was shocked. This is a guy is a hero of Christian thinking. Like, we're talking right up there with Martin Luther, like big level stuff. Anyway, to listen to how he was so centered in his book about his core convictions about how the world should be, both faith-wise, but also how we relate to the Jews, how we relate to others, other people. And his consistency that it didn't matter what everybody else in his church organization believed or what everybody else in Germany believed. He knew where he was at, and he found people that would align with him. But it was like that core, in the same way that your core is about I'm here as dentistry, but it's something else, right? Right. That knowing allows us to stay grounded, regardless if people receive our message or not. And I have to remind myself of that sometimes, because it's like, all right, is this about effectiveness or is this about my ego? And I have to balance, because sometimes I feel good when there's comments and there's things and likes and shares, but then I go, okay, wait a minute. Was the message important? Did the message get out? Did people open their hearts? If they did, all right, it's a win.
I get that. I see it.
Your kid, stick that in your pipe.
It's so funny. I'm like, stop watching these losers. And he goes, Daddy, that loser has a Lamborghini. I'll never forget that. I'm like, bro, come on. I got 35 subscribers. Little punk.
Just tell him, if you want a Lamborghini, I'll get one. You just have to move out.
That's a good one.
Because you guys in your network of dentists, we have a mutual friend who has a perfect life and a very good Lamborghini.
That's right.
Right? I think it's green or something, isn't it?
It's green. It is green. And I've been inside it.
How is it?
It is loud, man. It is loud. It is so loud. I was trying to film and it was like crazy. But he's such an awesome guy.
Did you take it? Did he go fast at it?
He did. He punched it one time. It's just so loud. It's crazy. And and the seatbelts, they come like a race car, you know?
Yeah.
Cross on you, and I'm like, whoa, this is cool.
Well, that thing will go 200 miles an hour.
Yeah. I interviewed him on my. I interviewed Tom. He's on one of my episodes.
Oh,
That's a
all
great
right. I'm
talk
gonna go
too.
back and
Yeah,
watch a few of them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my next guest is a property appraiser. Not as exciting. Our community, our property appraiser is up for election, and I figured out something. This is part of my like debate, my emotional debate with myself. Like, do I really want to have politicians on? Because I won't let them do the normal. Here's my position on things. Like that is nothing I will allow. This is like, tell me what it means to run your role, because people in my audience are going to be tired of that. They don't want promises anymore. They just want to know what it is that you even do. Anyway, with the property appraiser, nobody ever thinks about how your home gets its value and you get taxed on it. So they'll come talk to you when they're running for office.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that's funny.
All right, buddy.
It's been awesome. I'm so glad we got to connect. And how long we've been talking? My God, 71 minutes according to my watch. And I'm gonna have to edit this to 35 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. I'll show the whole thing. I love it.
I'm like, wow, really? You got a good editor.
No, we'll just let it go. But it's been a pleasure, man. I hope to see you in person soon sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least, okay, so 2 ways we can do this. At least at the next conference.
Yes.
Before or after, maybe we'll go to a drink or something. Or 2, we go to Peanut Island every year. Do you know where that's at?
Oh, you do? Yeah.
Yeah, every year. Well, with COVID, without whatever. And now that we have the boat, we'll bring it, and we don't have to use the ferry to get over there. But we go camping. So
how do you bring the boat? With the car?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. The actual island's closed, but they will let you anchor next to it.
Yeah, well, we're hoping it opens soon.
It's the coolest place, man. I love that. We charter boats, and we take our kids parasailing and things like that. We did it like a couple of times, and it's so much fun. You don't have to take care of the boat.
Well, have you ever stayed on the island?
I've been inside it. We walked around inside it. They don't let us do that now. Hopefully, I think it's phase 3. They might have opened it, but I have walked inside it. Yes, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, the campsites are spectacular. It got hot water. It's just awesome. As a kid, I got locked in the bunker.
Oh.
On a Boy Scout trip. So I'm a little bit afraid of going into the bunker. But other than that, we go there every year. We really love it. And now this year we're super excited because we can, when the ferry brings you over, you're stuck unless you got to pay another $50 to get off the island. And you're only going from here to there.
I know.
But it's like an ocean of current.
Yeah. I got to tell you a little story. I'm sorry, I'm taking this too long, but we took a bunch of kids. We chartered a boat, a little small boat, and then the guy said, "Let me go check the current." And he said, "Okay, I'm gonna park over here. You guys swim, and you're gonna go over there because the current's gonna take you." So we got like 4 kids, my 2 kids and my friend's 3 kids. We all jumped in. I'm like, "Holy cow, this is taking us that way." So I'm grabbing 2 kids. I'm like, "Come on, let's swim." But that current's strong, man. And but it's so beautiful. It is so nice. The water is like blue, and it's just very
reef.
nice.
That fake reef they put in is amazing.
Yeah, it is. It really is. We went snorkeling there, yeah. But
you do the estuary or whatever it is in the middle?
The little rock place. Yeah, we did that.
But there's a boat that goes out of there that's a dog. Hold on. It's COVID. There was a boat. We were in there. All right. Top secret. You cannot show this to the park people. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Top secret.
Nobody will know.
So
they're not. I don't think they've subscribed to this.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
So there's a way to fish in the lagoon. You take your pole. It's back over there. You hold the line. You got a piece of squid on here. You hold it over the fish. You're snorkeling. You can see where the fish are. You drop the line. You're holding it. You drop it until they pick it up, snag it, and then you tell the person holding the pole, reel it in.
Oh.
You could pick the fish you want. So we're fishing with that method, right? And a cruise ship comes by that goes out every, I don't know, 2 days or whatever.
Right.
Comes by, it creates such a wake emotion.
Yep.
One of my kids goes, "We're gonna get flushed." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" The thing starts spinning is like a toilet bowl. And
oh my God.
I swear to you, about 3 foot of water went out. And then as soon as the boat was gone, it rushed back in. It was the craziest experience we'd ever had. Right? You remember that? It was great. It literally felt like the toilet was doing this. And we were like looking at each other, what is happening? And then we can touch the ground. Then the water came back in and we couldn't touch the ground. So crazy.
That's awesome.
All right. So we might see you on a Peanut Island trip.
Let's do it, man. Sounds good.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, I appreciate being on your show.
Latte Talk.
Latte Talk.
Don't forget the name.
Maybe one day I'll have you on the Red Phone Talk. We got to come up.
I would love to. I love that Red Phone.
We got to talk about something scandalous, though.
Okay.
I don't know what, but we'll figure it out.
I'm not too exciting about stuff like that.
Well, they got to be. We'll talk about rotten teeth or something. You know.
There you go. Now you're getting me all excited.
There you go. All right, buddy.
Hey, thank you so much, man. Appreciate your time.
Glad to do it. Glad to be here.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye.